It is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank here on the Voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. We've been hearing a lot recently about all of the school districts having to put together some educational health and safety plans to get ready to go back to school in the fall. One other group that has had to have had that task in front of them has been the Evergreen After School Club. Joining us right now on the phone is Dave Janusek of the After School Club. Dave, good morning.
Good morning, Josh. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Thank you for being here. How are you holding up?
Oh, it's stressful, but what Andrew Carnegie said, the strongest fires make the strongest steel. So we're all getting a little stronger through the coronavirus. So that's one positive that I think my staff and just everyone you kind of meet is hopefully coming out of this thing a little stronger than they went in.
So let's go ahead and talk about what procedures have been in place since the start of the pandemic. I believe that I've seen a couple of the announcements on the Facebook pages that Evergreen After School Club had gone virtual for a bit.
We did. We'll go all the way back to March 15th when the school districts were shut down. We obviously were shut down. We went virtual from March 15th till the end of the school year, and through that period we had obviously kind of a trial and error, beefed up our virtual programs there to kind of meet the needs of the club members a little bit more. But when we were able to go into the green phase, we had all intentions to go face-to-face. We think that a lot of the, obviously I always talk about one of the big, things that we want to accomplish with the Evergreen After School Club is that social aspect. We believe children need that social aspect to grow properly. So we really, we're trying to come up with a plan that we could go face-to-face. So we had, kind of followed a lot of guidelines from the CDC, even OSHA, Department of Health, each district's different plan we took into consideration. And on July 6th, we had launched a 6-week program face-to-face. And then the second half phase will start the 13th. Some of the programs now are going a hybrid virtual live. One of our districts is going completely virtual. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that had to do with, you've got to realize that in a normal school year, Evergreen After School Club would have started right after school ended and would be kind of wrapping up our operations in the next couple of weeks. So starting later in the year posed a couple of problems with building access, again with COVID-19 kind of being the overriding factor. So in some places, the virtual face-to-face hybrid is what works best. So we are right now face-to-face in Blairsville, Salzburg, and United. Next week we go face-to-face in Homer City, Penns Manor. We go virtual in Penns Manor for 2 weeks, then face-to-face. And we will go virtual in Purchase Line. So it's a lot of balls in the air to get these kids both, something to kind of combat that summer learning loss and give them a social outlet.
It does sound like it's been difficult, though, to kind of coordinate with each district because, as you've proven with the fact that some districts are going face-to-face, some are going hybrid, some are going all digital with their education programs for the summer. It seems to be difficult. You just can't make one program that'll work for the whole area that the Evergreen After School Club serves.
Right, you can't, Josh. One of the things that, that is paramount is just the cooperation that we've had from each district, from superintendent all the way down to administration has been, hand in hand with us since March 15th, which is very important. So it's really that we couldn't do this, keeping in mind that we see ourselves as guests in each of these districts. Mm-hmm. It's their buildings. It's, our staff. So, without that partnership, each of the districts could have said, we're not going to do this. And we all would have had to sit and say, okay, we can go virtual. We don't want to go completely virtual, because, again, we value that social interaction part. So my hat's off, working with the districts. They have been nothing but overly cooperative, from superintendents all the way down to, building maintenance people, administrators, principals, vice principals, the whole lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Now, back on July 3rd, we did receive the notification that the plans had to be modified for a bit. I imagine this was in response to some of the orders that were put in place, once again, by the PDE or state government overall.
Correct, and that's one of the things I think that everyone living through this COVID-19 pandemic is that things change on a dime at many times. So on the 3rd, the governor had stated that masks were required for both kids, adults, the entire population. At that point, we had to shift, we had to adapt, we had to identify another mask producer and get additional masks shipped, overnight so that we could be ready to start on that Monday. So it's, even at this point, we don't know. Next week it could change again. So it's kind of like every Friday we kind of wait to see, are we still where we are? But again, hats off to the districts, hats off to my staff that, have been so adaptive with, okay, we meet every Monday. What are we going to do? What's this week going to bring? So it's just part of, I don't want to use an overused cliche of the new normal, but it is the new normal. It's being resistant and being able to change because we don't control this thing.
You mentioned the purchase of masks. Are those masks for the students taking part? Are they for the staffers, both?
Students and staff.
Okay.
We provide, you can bring your own mask, but we provide masks for both all of our staff and all students that do come to the program. Many of the students already have their own masks, as this is, like I said, it's been going on since March. So they're welcome to bring their own, or we will provide the masks as well as disinfecting and hand sanitizers.
All right. We're talking with David Janusek with the Evergreen After School Club, and we've been talking about how their organization has been going through the coronavirus crisis and the changes to our landscape that we have seen over the past few weeks, and even as far back as last week whenever things started to change around once again. So also, one of the things that I guess that everybody has noticed is the fact that everybody has a greater appreciation for the people who are teaching, or in your case, maybe tutoring or mentoring as well. Talk about the reaction you've had from the people over the past few weeks, whether it has been through the virtual or through the now face-to-face educational efforts. People, I imagine, have been giving the Evergreen After School Club a lot of support over these past few weeks.
They have, and I'll kind of, the effects or, the reaction, I'll start from even, the club members that come in. They're ecstatic to be back into something that seems to be normal. So even, from the club members, I know my staff is ecstatic because they get to do what their, background is, with what their training has been. The administrative end of it, I think they feel that this is, again, a service to their district. But again, it comes down to a lot of the parents. This is their own, their only alternative for somebody who may be working, or two working parents, or working from home. I've gotten, phone calls prior to us going live from, parents saying, today was the last day. I woke up this morning, I went into my home office, marshmallows all over the place, Doritos for breakfast. You got to help us. We got to have something for the children, for the the club members to do. So the support, it's kind of a win-win because we are supporting the districts, the parents, and so on. But in the same way that they're supporting us by feeling that they can feel confident to send their children back into something that's somewhat unknown. So all around, it's been nothing but positive. And it's, it does feel good to get a little bit back to what we think normalcy is. I think also in a lot of the districts, we have been the testing ground, I think, for a lot of their plans. How is this going to work?
Okay.
If we've got a smaller group of, say, 20 kids or 30 kids, that really is kind of the microcosm of what's going to happen, hopefully, come September when their protocols go into place. So a lot of our protocols and their protocols are being tested now to say, temperature, checking temperatures every day, being to identify what's the difference between, a kid who ran around outside too long and turned red to a temperature of 101 when they check in.
Right.
So I think a lot of it, that support is there because I think we've kind of become that microcosm testing ground.
So from what I understand, the program is going to resume, I guess, as well on July 13th. I know it has resumed now with the July 6th
Yes.
programming, but there's going to be another tract of programming starting on the 13th, right?
Yes, our second wave is Homer Center. Starts purchase line goes virtual. Penns Manor goes virtual until the 27th. Then they go face-to-face. So it is kind of a phase, and it's kind of, I've got to keep looking at my calendar and realize where are we live, where are we virtual, ramping up to go live. So, again, that was done a lot in cooperation with the districts as far as availability and what really fit in. I know these districts are also trying to run football camps, extracurricular. So it's a lot of juggling in a very compressed schedule where last year these things would start right after the last day of school, a week later. Well, that's come and gone. But we still want to be able to provide that quality program.
And I imagine as well it's also a timing act as well, because I don't know if you were able to hear our lead story at the top of the hour this morning. It was the fact that Homer Center did approve the summer activities health and safety plan so that Evergreen could come back to Homer Center.
Right, and that is true. I'm glad you brought that up because the Homer Center decision was also, had a lot to do with that fact that the district did not meet. You're right, many of these districts had special meetings, so we weren't going to go into the districts until their plan was approved, which our plan was part of. So you're absolutely correct. The Homer Center district, we were waiting in cooperation with the district. We didn't want to get it in there early. Again, as you mentioned earlier, with things changing. So their district, we figured that, right, let's hope by the 9th that they get a thumbs up, and we're the 13th. Kind of what you spoke about before. If we wouldn't have gotten a thumbs up on the 9th, I would have been back with Superintendent Whites on his team and saying, okay,
where do we
let's
go
shuffle
from
the
here?
cards again. Shuffle the cards again and hope for at least, some playable cards.
All right. Well, if anybody wants more information or to get updates on the status of everything with Evergreen After School Club, where can they go?
Yeah, here's a couple places. Follow our Facebook. We're very, very socially active on Facebook. Check our website out, evergreenasc.org. If you have questions, we are still, as we've always done, rolling applications. So say that you say, hey, I want to have my kid join in the next week. Either send me an email at evergreenasc@evergreenasc.org or call the main office at 724-910-1475. We'll direct you to the right site and get you hooked up. So follow Facebook, the website, call the office. Again, if there's a parent out there that says, I didn't know you guys, we're up and running again, or I would like to send my child, we will still, along with the application, fill out the application, and we'll get you in for the remainder of the summer program.
Dave, we're up to the mark, but thanks for joining us again, and we hope everything goes well with Evergreen After School Club. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks so much, Josh. I appreciate it.
Thanks again to Dave Janusek, Evergreen After School Club here on Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank.
The cost of living keeps going up. You need to save money. You need Gas Buddy. Gas Buddy saves you up to